Hey guys, Ramsey here. Welcome to another video. Today we have a This Is Not a Top 10 episode. And the last couple days I did early impressions, and I was going to do another one on Amouage Opus 13 Silver Oud. I haven't had a chance to do a video on that yet, or even smell it. I have a decant. I'm going to wait till Monday because I get tired of doing, first impressions, early wears, back to back to back. I like to kind of mix things in. Today I wanted to wear a fragrance from my collection that I had worn to bed, but I haven't given a chance to really wear it. I'm not going to do a video on it today, so it's easier for me to just wear it and kind of enjoy it. But someone sent this to me, and it was very kindly sent to me as part of a package. I bought Boss Spirit from him, and he said, "Hey mate, based on your based on your taste and what you really love, I think you would like this." And it's Beaufort's Iron Duke. And I wanted to wear this today because yesterday I wore Amouage Opus 14 Royal Tobacco, which many compared to this. And I can tell you, I did a video, an early impression on that. You can go watch the video. And my 2 cents is I actually like this better. So I won't be buying a bottle of Royal Tobacco unless it really just falls in my lap at an amazing price, because this is more enjoyable to me. This is riskier, takes more chances, and I much more enjoy the leather note. I don't, there is tobacco in here, but it's not as much of a focal point as the Amouage, if you will. But it's just crazy. It's an insane fragrance. It really smells like you're on like a World War II battlefield in a metal tank, because there's this metallic note in the top with liquor, star anise, oud, tobacco, animalic notes, gunpowder. It smells like you're smelling like, burning, like you're smelling like burning acreage in the background. You're in this metal tank, bullets, gunfire, gunpowder is in the air. There's, generals behind you drinking whiskey or whatever liquor gets them going for the battle. It's that kind of smell. I love the challenging aspect of this, and this is the second Beaufort I really liked. So I think I'm going to try to buy more from the brand, but that's my scent of the day, and I really enjoyed Iron Duke. I liked it even more than Royal Tobacco from yesterday. So this episode of This Is Not a Top 10 is going to focus on the note of Carnation. So this video, this is going to be an epic video, by the way. It's going to be very long, so I hope you're sitting down. I hope you got your seatbelt on. It is going to be a long one, because the whole point of this series of This Is Not a Top 10 is to highlight fragrances from my collection with that note. And so Carnations are on the dock today. I actually have Carnation Absolute right here on this blotter that was very kindly sent to me by Russian Adam and the Rouge L'Adore brand. Carnations, look how green Carnation is in its true form. And it has this balmy spiciness to it, very reminiscent of cloves is what Carnations are supposed to smell like, and they do. It doesn't have this fresh floral, it's not going to smell like jasmine or anything like that, rose. Carnations are very specific in perfumery. They're also very spicy, and they were used heavily in masculine fragrances from the past. And what is most of my collection made of? Masculine fragrances from the past. And so you're going to see a ton of fragrances in this video. And Carnations have this aroma chemical called eugenol. And apparently eugenol is supposed to be the ingredient that will remind you of cloves, because that's very heavy in cloves as well. But I love Carnation. It is one of my favorite flowers. And actually this video was requested by a couple people, so I figured I would do it, but it's going to take a while. So I'm not going to rush. I'm just going to go through it. I want this to be like a reference video on Carnations. So let's get started with some decants. The first is a fragrance brand called Pine Ward, and this fragrance is called Nocturnus. Now, I actually did a video on this one already. This came out this year. And this house is very interesting. The brand owner and perfumer is a man named Nicholas Nilsson. And Mr. Nilsson is in his 20s, but he grew up in the Rockies. And this brand is supposed to highlight the outdoor vibe of being in the mountains with the forests and, you know, pine and resins and all that good stuff. This has carnation with hay, pine, tobacco, that kind of feel. It really feels like Polo Green, which, by the way, I think Polo Green also could have been on this list. I don't think if I grabbed it or not. Let me take a look. Let me just see real quick if I happen to grab Polo Green, because it also could be on this list. And I don't want to leave anything out since I took so much time doing this. Yes. So Polo Green will also be added to the list. And Polo Green, 1978. So these two are kind of peas in a pod for me. This is like a modern niche version of Polo Green. And this is the classic. I mean, how can you talk about vintage masculines and not talk about Polo Green? It's leather, carnation, tobacco, oak moss, tarragon. I love tarragon in the opening for some reason. It just really satisfies when I get that spicy green opening. There's caraway. There's a bunch of pine in both fragrances. Amazing creations. Okay, next we're going to go to the house of Aqua De Selva. Now, this is one I don't talk about too much because I'm not a big fan. I like it, but I don't love it. It's called Aqua De Selva by the house of Victor. Now, I think the new one is Visconti de Modrone? Visconti de Modrone. I have never smelled that version. I've only smelled this Victor version, which is the older one, I believe. I believe Victor used to own this fragrance before they ended up selling it off. And I think now it's even marketed by somebody different, Perfalina. And this is lavender, old school lavender with citruses and a floral heart. And you'll notice many times that the carnation note in many of these fragrances we're going to talk about is in the heart. It's in the mid. So you'll find like carnation and geranium go very well. Geranium is also a spicy flower. Geranium can give off this rose-like feeling. Some perfumers even substitute rose for geranium. And so those two you'll notice go hand in hand many a times. There's also a little bit of pine in here and oak moss in the base and stuff like that. I need to wear it more. It's not my favorite though. Okay, so one I plan on doing an early impression of. This was sent to me by one of my perfume fairy god people. D.L. Qualia is his name. This is Rosendu Matu number 5. Now this is heavily hyped in the community. Rest in peace, Rosendu Matu, by the way. And whenever I got this, some of it got on my hands because this one actually leaked a little bit. And so I was like, oh God, it's all over my hands. It's all I could smell. And I remember Rich Mitch blind bought this because of the hype and sold it. He hated it. And the good news is the bit that got on my hands and what I'm smelling off of the atomizer, I don't hate it as bad as I thought I would hate it, because he really made it seem like it was the worst fragrance of all time. And it is bad. I mean, it seems bad based on, you know, what got on my fingers and smelling it from the atomizer. I haven't given it a full wear yet. I can see why it is so hyped, because it is extremely sweet. It's got the sweetness to it. Normally, I don't like sweet fragrances. This one, for whatever reason, doesn't put me off as bad as some of the others. But I'll do a full review on this and wear it. He gave me quite a lot of juice, so more than enough to either give a full wear or just kind of put it on before bed and talk about it a little bit. But I can't say I'm the biggest fan, but I don't despise it. Okay, so some good news already. Okay, next we're gonna go to the house of Jill Sander. And this is called Man Pure. Now, this is another one I plan on doing a video on soon, if I haven't already. I did a couple Jill Sander videos. Man Pure, this was sent to me by Duncan. Thank you, Duncan. A while back. And this is oregano, basil with Carnation and Geranium in the heart again. That special combo. And then Patchouli Cinnamon. But what I love about Jil Sander fragrances from the 80s that I've had a chance to smell is they all have this animalic aspect to it. All of them. Every single one I've smelled. And there is, the ones from the 80s, there's this castoreum in the base of this that is just perfect. You know, we're talking 1981 here, the same year as Antaeus. And so that's when castoreum was just rolling in men's fragrances. And here, it mixes with the Carnation beautifully. If I haven't done a video on this man pure yet, I will. I'll try to do it soon. Okay, next we're going to go to another Jil Sander, and this is called Woman 2. Now, this one I did a video on. I know 100% I did a video on Woman 2. Woman 2 came out in '83. It's discontinued, and it's an animalic floral. I loved this fragrance. In fact, it's on my, if a bottle ever falls in my lap, I want it. Both of those Jil Sanders, Man Pure and Woman 2, are both on my, if a bottle falls in my lap, I'll buy it because it's that good. High quality materials, beautiful floral heart here. Carnation is one piece of the floral bouquet. Carnation's more amped up in Man Pure than it is in Woman 2 because there's other florals that compete with the Carnation. Orchid and rose and tuberose and iris and jasmine, lily of the valley, that kind of thing. But there's still the civet and the castoreum in the base. Beautiful fragrance, completely unisex. I really like the house of Jil Sander. Okay. Next we are going to go to a Lanvin, and I did a video on this one as well. This is another one that if a bottle falls in my lap, I want it because it's damn good. It's from 1963, and this was sent to me by Moudessir. You can go watch my unboxing from a couple days back. I have his full name in the title. You can find him on Base Notes. He's an amazing resource to have for vintage and hard-to-find fragrances. This is Monsieur Lanvin from 1963. So I still have enough for a full wearing or so. Green and spicy. I love this stuff because this is one of the best uses of civet, I think, from the 1960s that I've ever smelled. It again has that Carnation Geranium combo, but this time they've added jasmine and rose, which is pretty daring for this 1960s. They didn't have many men's fragrances with jasmine in it in the 1960s. And the base is resinous because it's got labdanum, myrrh, vanilla, and just a load of oak moss. I love this stuff. Full bottle worthy, absolutely. Go watch my video on Monsieur Lanvin. Okay, couple more samples, and then we'll start moving on to the full bottles here. Next, we've got Ysl Purome. Now, this is, again, a fragrance that I plan on doing a video on soon. There's so many fragrances I plan on doing a video on soon, but this was a Raymond Chaillan creation from the early 70s, 1971. This is the one where if you go to Parfumo and look up the pictures, you can see Yves Saint Laurent, the man, posing butt-ass naked for the advertisement. And there's the bottle. So, Ysl Purome. Ysl Purome, to me, is in the same range as something like, you know, if you like fragrances like Abbey Rouge, if you like Sagamore by Lancôme, if you like the original Ho Hang, not Ho Hang Club, but Balenciaga Ho Hang, which also came out in 1971, incidentally, and also is the same perfumer, incidentally. That's probably the closest one to this. I would urge you to check out Purome. Really good citrusy, fresh scent. I usually don't like these kind of scents, these very citrusy scents, lots of lemon and petitgrain and stuff like that, but this is very well done. And the Carnation's in the heart, of course, with Brazilian rosewood and a bunch of others. Okay, next, we're going to go to another Jil Sander. And again, I plan on doing a video on this one very soon because I only have a little 3.5 ml mini, but this is called Background. And the thing I love about Jill Sanders scents from once you get past the early 80s, and once you get into the late 80s and 90s, you start to see a theme in her scents continue to pop up, and it's this raspberry note, and it is here. All right, so just like Jill Sander, what's the one from '89 that I love so much? Feeling Man has this raspberry bit to it. So does Background. So Background has anise, raspberry with lavender, carnation, heliotrope, jasmine, cinnamon, tonka, benzoin, vanilla. And I'm gonna talk about this very soon, hopefully. I want to get the minis and smaller stuff out of the way before I focus on the big bottles, because I don't want evaporation or anything crazy like that to happen with these that I have such small amounts of juice on. So that's why I'm kind of prioritizing. Okay, next is Benetton, and it's Colors de Benetton Man. This was a hit in the late 80s, 1988 this came out, a year after Cool Water, and it does have this freshness. There's no marine notes here, but this is a citrusy, fresh lavender, very heavy lavender with a note of cypress. Cypress is a very underutilized note. I'll do it. This is not a top 10 on the note of cypress if I haven't already. So the carnation and the rose and the jasmine's in the mid, vanilla, benzoin, cedar, sandalwood. Nice cedar and sandalwood in the base too. It does get woody in the base with patchouli and a touch of amber. Yeah, beautiful scent. Same thing. I will do a video on this sometime soon. I think this is more of a summer scent, so I might wait till next year, but I will do it soon. And then we've got a sample that was very kindly sent to me by one of you. This is Francesca Bianchi, Under My Skin. Now, Under My Skin came out in 2017, I believe, and this is probably one of her most hyped scents. It's a spicy animalic, you know, leather, ambergris, castoreum, tolu balsam, but there is an old school carnation note in here, which I do really love. So I will do a video on Under My Skin soon, hopefully. It is on the sample list. I have so many samples that I want to get through that, you know, it's the problem is when I go into the actual office, it's very hard for me to do early impressions because I can't focus on the scent when I'm around all these people. But when I'm working from home or during the weekends, I can. But then again, I don't want to do back to back like early impressions because I just get bored of wearing something where I have to focus so hard. Those early impressions, I really have to focus. It takes attention and effort. And so sometimes you just want to throw something on and forget about it. Okay, so next we're going to do Emmanuel Ungaro. And this is a Jacques Polge creation, by the way, from 1983, and it's called Diva. So again, another one where I've got a mini, a 7.5 mil mini. Yeah, 7.5 mil. This is the Eau De Parfum, but there's also an Eau De Toilette, and I think there's a Pure Parfum. If you like Chanel's Coco, the original Coco from the mid 80s, this is like an early version of Coco, Diva. Very well done. High quality materials. It is discontinued, unfortunately. This bottle's a vintage from Parfums Ungaro, but it was later acquired by Salvatore Ferragamo Group, which did continue on. I don't know if the formulation was changed or reformulated, but I do really like this fragrance. I love Coco. I love this type of, you know, floral spicy. The Carnation is in the mid, of course, very common, with orris and honey and iris. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful floral. Marketed towards women, completely unisex. All right, next is going to be a Dunhill, and again, another mini, and this is called Dunhill Edition. So Edition came out in '84. It's also officially discontinued, even the new stuff. Inter Parfums marketed it for a bit, but now it's no longer. It's lavender, mace, cyclamen, carnation, geranium. Again, carnation, geranium, clary sage, fir, tonka bean, vetiver, and cedarwood. very, very... These kind of scents seem very, like, professional to me. Like, I think of things like Atkinson's... Oh, what is that fragrance I'm thinking of? Atkinson's Rockford. I think of stuff like Rockford when I think of Edition. That kind of fragrance, if you're familiar with it. Just very professional, you know, easygoing, maybe even Boss Elements is another one I think of when I think of stuff like Dunhill Edition. But Dunhill Edition is very good. It's not a screamer, but it's a very good fragrance. And then we're going to go to a full bottle and then back to a decant. In 1925, the House of Knitze 10 put this out. And it's Knitze 10. The House of Knitze put this out. It's Knitze 10. And it is... What you'll notice is with the Carnation note, you'll notice that there's many leather fragrances that use the Carnation along with the leather accord. It goes beautifully with leather. It's actually probably one of my favorite flat florals to add to leather. So if you have like leather, castoreum, which is here, and then you add that spicy Carnation, it just works beautifully. And on top of it, they've added clove. So there's clove, iris, rose, sandalwood, cedarwood, castoreum. What a leather fragrance. And this is a modern bottle. I would love to smell a vintage of this one day, or own a vintage of it. They've kept it in fantastic condition. They also did a flanker, which the flanker I think is also still available, but it's came out in the year 2000, and they did it for the turn of the millennia. And this is Golden Edition, Knitze 10 Golden Edition. This also uses that Carnation, geranium, iris, but it seems like it's a little updated. It's a little, it doesn't seem as old school, if you will. It's a little more palatable. Castoreum, leather, moss, ambergris, vanilla, Carnation in the mid. Just a beautiful, I wish I had a full bottle, but I'm happy to have this little 10 ml decant. Okay, let's get on to the full bottles now. So we're going to go to the house of Giorgio Beverly Hills. Giorgio Beverly Hills for men is the first one from '84, which is officially discontinued, according to Parfumo. Just a slap in the face. And there it is, Giorgio Beverly Hills for men, 1984. One of my favorite honey patchouli. The honey patchouli here is just amazing. There's aldehydes in the top, orange and pimento. I mean, I hear even the newer formulations, this is a vintage bottle, but even the newer formulations are quite good. So if you can snag a bottle while it's still cheap, I would recommend it. What a fragrance. Sad it's discontinued. But the Carnation is in the heart with Orris, Carnation, and that, you know, buttery, powdery Orris is a winning combination for me as well. And then I wore this scent to bed last night and really enjoyed it. It's a new acquisition for me. I got it from Anouge, and this has been discontinued for a long time. I got it from Anouge at Enchante. This is called Giorgio for Men VIP Special Reserve. So this is a used partial tester that I ended up getting. As you can see, no sticker on the bottom. No markings on the back, nothing. Just the difference in the bottle color tell it apart. And I'll tell you what a fragrance this is too. I don't think I like it as much as the original, because the original for me is amazing. One of my favorites. But I really enjoyed wearing this to bed last night. It had slight feelings of Zino, Davidoff Zino. Maybe even slight touches of like an amber fougere, if you will. Something like, maybe something like a precursor to jazz. I really like this though. I'd have to wear it more. It was the first time I ever wore it, but I think they did a great job. And you know, Anouge actually told me, he said, hey man, this is an amazing fragrance. Have you smelled it? Anytime a Nuge tells me something like that, I'm all over it. And Giorgio for Men VIP Special Reserve. What a name, too. But fantastic fragrance. It is the kind of fragrance that I enjoy wearing. It's very elegant and classy, masculine, you know, serious. Doesn't play around. I love those type of scents. Okay, next we're going to go to the final Giorgio, and it's Giorgio Beverly Hills Red for Men. Now, this is the modern. This is also discontinued, by the way. I don't know if the house is done or what, but this is marketed by EA Fragrances. And there is a vintage bottle that Anuj sent me, a mini. So one day I plan on doing a comparison between this and the mini that I have. People compare this to Patou Porum. Patou Porum, the mini smells much closer to the original Patou Porum than this. I think this has been reformulated, but I think that this is a good reformulation. So, you know, I would tell you that if you can find the vintage, get it. But if you don't have this fragrance and you find this 100 ml for 20 bucks, discounters or something, get it. It's still worth grabbing. As a reference, but also as a vintage masculine. This is early 90s, but it feels like an 80s fragrance, if that makes sense. There's lots of Artemisia and old school spicy carnation and oak moss and leather in the base. So I don't know what they replaced the oak moss with, but they did a good job. You know, it's decent. The reformulation is decent. It's not terrible. Okay, next we're going to go to the house of Ralph Lauren, and this is Safari for Men. Okay, so Safari is spicy and woody. Oh, I love this stuff. This is this late 80s, early 90s time, which I think Chris from Scentland calls sunshine in a bottle, and I understand exactly what he means by that. There's so many fragrances from this time period that I just love. And this would fall probably in a category similar to something like this, or, you know, YSL Jazz again, Guerlain's Heritage. Those kind of fragrances for me are, you know, they're some of my favorites. And this is one such. I have a backup of this. This is a Cosmere bottle. That's what you want when you buy Safari. The new stuff is destroyed by L'Oreal, basically. But it has a leather base with oak moss and patchouli. I just love the combo. Tarragon, again, love tarragon. And carnation and rose and jasmine in the heart. Fantastic. Fantastic fragrance. One of my favorite masculines and one of my favorite bottles, too. Look at that, like a whiskey decanter. There really is something. There's another fragrance coming up that came out a year later that is very similar. Very similar to this, very similar to Guerlain's Heritage, but it has like a liqueur note. And the juice color, the bottle, it all reminds me kind of each other. So I will, when we get to it, I'll mention it. All right, next we're going to go to the house of Hermes. And this is a vintage bottle. This is what the original bottle of Arocobar looks like. And it originally came wrapped with a blanket, but I don't think I ever received the blanket because I bought this secondhand. Oh, spicy, woody, beautiful note of cypress. Again, very underused. Carnation in the heart with oak moss, patchouli, fir, benzoin, vanilla. It really does feel like you're outside, like you're outdoors. You know, you've got that fir, the balsam fir. You've got the that outdoor smell, and it really does give you that outdoor, you know, standing in a field where animals roam. Maybe there's some horses roaming about. That's the vibe that Arocobar gives me. Okay, one of my favorite fragrances of all time, spicy, woody, 1988 YSL Jazz. Man, this fragrance is one of my favorites. It is just amazing. I love the bottle because it keeps sunlight out, so the juice stays fresh. Anise, cardamom, nutmeg, lavender, tarragon, winning start. And then carnation, geranium, iris, and jasmine, winning heart. And then a base of oak moss, leather, tobacco, sandalwood, cedarwood, tonka, amber, musk, winning base. Just everything about this. It is fantastic for me. You know, this is one of these amber fougères, whatever you want to call it. Oh, absolute love. Cannot wait to wear that more once the weather turns a bit. And then they did a flanker in '93 called Jazz Prestige, which is very close. It keeps the jazz DNA, but it adds a little bit of playfulness. So it has this, you know, fruity touch to it. There's fruity notes in here. It feels like you're smelling some blackcurrant. You know, it almost feels like you're smelling some strawberries sometimes. There's this fruity touch to it. This melony fruity touch. Strawberries, almost like watermelon strawberries. That kind of vibe. And it really adds this playfulness to it. There's also the freshness of ginger added. So it's a little fresher, a little more playful. I prefer the original, but this is very good. And it does use real Mysore sandalwood. I don't know if the original used real Mysore sandalwood, but on the box of Jazz Prestige, they do list Mysore sandalwood. So this is a very good one. I know some people I really trust. Really rate this highly. For me, Jazz is the number one in that group, but Jazz Prestige is a very close second. And I would say Pierre Bourdon's Live Jazz is third, just because it's so much fresher. It's very different from the original. It is a great fresh cheapie though. If you're looking for like a minty, you know, if you're looking for a minty fresh take that has nothing to do with jazz and you get Live Jazz at a great price, I'd say go for it. Okay, next we're going to go to the house of Parfums Weil, or Veal, I don't know how you pronounce it, but I'm just going to say Weil. This is Kipling. Now, Kipling is an absolute banger. If you like stuff like I like, oh man, 1986, leathery, spicy. It's a leathery, spicy fougère is how I would describe it. It's got that lavender, geranium, tonka fougère DNA with carnation, pine, juniper, basil, leather, moss, cedar wood, patchouli. Just a stunner, an absolute stunner. And if you like the serious old school masculines, put this on the list. Kipling. Okay, next we're going to go to the house of Etienne Aigner, and this is called Silver. Now, I really like silver. The carnation's in the heart, as usual. There's this, oh man, I love this stuff. And I ended up scoring these. The guy thought they were 5 mils. It turns out they're 10 mils. And he gave me like an extra 1 or 2. So I got double the juice. So I've got like 100 mils of this stuff because I bought a bunch of them. This is a very hard to find fragrance. There's a spruce note in here too, which is also a very rare note to be used. It's used in Les Indemodables Oriental Velours, which I love. If I had to buy one full bottle of Les Indemodables, I think it would be Oriental Velours. And there's a base of castoreum, labdanum, leather, moss, frankincense. If you like things like Balenciaga Portos, I'd recommend you take a look at Silver. Or even Ted Lapidus Porum from the late 70s. Look at Silver. Okay, next we're going to go to the house of Stetson. Yes, Stetson. This is a discontinued fragrance now. It's no longer, it used to be everywhere in drugstores. This was a cheapie of cheapies. It's Stetson Original. And Stetson Original, you can see right there at the bottom, it says Coty LLC. It's now officially discontinued. Simrise created this to compete with, in the early 80s, Chaps came out by Ralph Lauren. And they created this to compete with Chaps. Chaps was supposed to be like Ralph Lauren's cheaper fragrance. Because they had Polo, right? They had Polo Green for the high class people. And they had Chaps for the middle class, basically. Because Chaps was like $5 back then. Which was a lot of money. I mean, it wasn't like it was today. But it sure as heck wasn't Polo Green. And I love Chaps. I think Chaps is better than 99% of the crap they put out now. This is to compete with Chaps. And you can tell that they use Chaps as kind of as kind of a starting point, because it also has this powderiness that Chaps has. You know, it's got this orris root with carnation, geranium, honey. There's honey in Chaps, I think. I know there's orris in Chaps, and lavender and citruses and clary sage in the top, which adds this masculine sweatiness. It's beautiful. Beautiful fougere. Beautiful chiffre is the way that was Chaps a chiffre? I think it was. This might be a fougere. They might have created more of a fougere because this has the lavender geranium tonka that you see in fougeres. So they might have tried to give the Chaps vibe while doing something a little bit differently. But I will do a video on Stetson one day. It's all of these are worth videos. Just a matter of doing them. And then in 1984, Edward Fleischier put out Davidoff. Now this is an absolute banger. You know, Davidoff got their start by cigars. They were like a tobacco. Oh man, they were a tobacco cigar company. And so when they put out their first masculine fragrance in 84, there had to be a hint of tobacco in here. Everyone thinks there is. There isn't. There's hay, which gives off this tobacco crinkly-like vibe. But it's very good. Carnation in the heart, leather and castoreum and ambergris in the base, mugwort, which is artemisia, and fruity notes and basil. It's just one of the best castoreum fragrances, too. Right up there with things like Jules, and right up there with things like Antaeus, that kind of thing. I mean, it really is an amazing fragrance, and it deserves more love, but it's getting very, very hard to find. I only have this 25 ml bottle, so I really do try to cherish it. Okay, next we're going to go to a fragrance that no one talks about. I think I got this bottle for like 20 bucks. I think it's still available for purchase too. But it's from the house of Vermeil, and it's called For Men. Now, if you like Jazz Prestige with that fruitiness in the top, I would recommend you try Vermeil For Men, because this has this blackcurrant in the top, which I believe is also in Jazz Prestige, and green galbanum. This fragrance is insane. It has like 4 transitions. For a $20 fragrance, you can't ask for much more than that. It's spicy, it's woody, it's fruity, it's green, it's got galbanum, it's got a floral heart, it's got carnation and geranium and jasmine, lily of the valley, freesia, ylang ylang, and rose. Huge floral heart. Then they throw you off. They hit you with violet leaf. So think about that. You're getting the green galbanum, fruity blackcurrant, citruses, big floral, violet leaf. And you're going, where in the world? And then the base is cedar, patchouli, vetiver, oak moss, and musk. This thing is nuts. And no one talks about it. I think it's damn good. I think it's damn good. It came out in the 90s, I think. Maybe late 80s, early 90s. It feels like it belongs in like the 70s, but it's great. I'll do a video on it one day. Okay, next we're going to go to the grandfather of amber fougères. And this is Pierre Cardin's Pour Monsieur. Now, Pour Monsieur came out in 1972. I love a good amber fougere, man. So lavender, of course, basil, carnation, geranium, iris, leather, tonka. Can't be a fougere without tonka. Vanilla. Patchouli. Amazing patchouli. And it feels like there's a honey note in here, although it's not listed. So, yes, if you like that amber fougere style like I do, this is a must. Must sniff. This is the grandfather from 1972. And then a newer acquisition of mine, and I'm so glad to have it. I love this stuff. It reminds me a lot of Aramis from the 60s. This is 1980, though. This is Versailles Porum from the house of Jean Desprez. So Jean Desprez put this out in 1980. This is the Eau de Cologne. The Eau de Toilette has like a white cap. The Eau de Cologne is a black one. And when I initially bought this, someone I really trust said, oh, the Eau de Toilette's way better. And I said, oh, crap, I got the wrong one. But then I got it and got to smell it and wear it. And I was like, shit, if the Eau de Toilette's better, I don't care because I love this stuff. I was worried for a little bit there. But yes, this is really good. Really does remind me of Aramis, though. It's got that sharp leather styrax, you know, with pimento, clary sage, carnation, geranium, patchouli, stone pine. There's a lot going on. It's an amazing fragrance, though. Even though it's an Eau de Cologne, it lasted on me. I was worried it wasn't going to last, but it really did last. Okay, on to a new acquisition. I haven't even had a chance to give this a full wear yet, or a wear at all. Just sniffing the cap, though, I can tell you it's a winner. I can tell you right now, if you have this on your watch list, go buy it. I will wear it soon and talk about it more. Supposedly, it's close to a fragrance, which I have a mini of, and I'll talk about soon, called Gatsby. Gatsby by Pacoma. And it's supposedly similar to this. This is MCM Success. Okay, so Success is 1986. Same year as my favorite fragrance of all time. This is spicy and resinous. It's got honey, tobacco, iris, jasmine, cedar, vetiver, carnation, patchouli, amber, benzoin, honey, and it does smell resinous, and it does smell spicy, and it does smell leathery. Yes, so when you smell a fragrance from the atomizer like this, what you get is, you get the base. You don't get the top. You get the base notes. So like right now I'm smelling the honey, the benzoin, the leather. It smells like it's been sprayed before. I don't know if it ever has. I haven't sprayed it yet, but I mean, you can see it's got that. Anuj might have tested it to make sure it was still good before he sent it to me. But I will wear this soon. It's discontinued. I'm very glad to have a bottle. If you see this for 50 or 60 bucks, grab it. Okay, next we're going to go to the house of Arrogance, and this is Arrogance Purim. Now, I think this is an older bottle because it says 79 proof, but I don't know for sure if this is or not an older bottle. It's hard to date these, but the Eau De Toilette is in the top. It does say natural spray right there, so I don't know. I don't know if this is an older bottle or not, but it came out in 82, spicy, leathery. Some people compare it to things like Koros. I think it's probably closer to Givenchy Gentleman. You know, maybe a little bit of denim, but it is spices with artemisia, carnation in the heart, patchouli, rose, cinnamon, amber, benzoin, oak moss, and there's this castoreum civet thing, which reminds me of Givenchy Gentleman. The patchouli and the castoreum civet thing really remind me of Givenchy Gentleman, but I could see the Koros comparison because of the civet, but I think it's a completely different fragrance. So there you have it, Arrogance Purim from 82. And then in 87, they came out with this, Arrogance Womo. And this is a version that's marketed by Schiaparelli Pickens. You can see right there, Schiaparelli Pickens. The current bottles, I think, are marketed by a company called The First. I don't know versions or anything like that. This is more of a fougere. This has that lavender, geranium. I don't know if there's tonka. Maybe it's not a true fougere, but it is spicy and woody, very Italian smelling. This is a very Italian smelling, spicy lavender, aldehyde, sage, and bergamot. You know, some Italian fragrances smell very Italian because of the spice and the way that they do the citruses. And it smells like that here. That's why I say it smells very Italian. Good fragrance. Not my favorite, but there's a beautiful carnation note in the mid. Okay, next we're going to go to the house of Alain Delon. And this is the original Alain Delon from 1980. It's called Classic now. This is an older bottle before it said Classic. This is a tester that I got from Anuj, in case you didn't know. There you go, the biggest demonstration not for sale tester you've ever seen. Spicy, resinous, basil, lavender, aldehydes, geranium, pine, carnation with honey, oak moss, benzoin, amber, tonka, and cedar in the base. I like the version that says classic on it. I really do. In fact, I almost like the one that says classic more than the original. The original has more green top. You know, you get lots more basil and mugwort in the top. But I like it. I think it's a good fragrance. Okay, next is a Tiffany fragrance. And this is from 1989. And I thought for the longest time that this was discontinued. Well, this version is the original version. It's now being marketed by Coty, and I'm sure they butchered it. I haven't smelled it though, but this is Tiffany for Men. So it's supposed to look like a belt buckle, if you look right here, like a men's belt buckle. And spicy and powdery. It'll remind you a little bit of fragrances like Chanel's Pour Monsieur, right? And another one coming up later, which I'll talk about once we get there. This is lavender with lots of lemons and orange and bergamot, lots of citruses, but it dries into this spicy, almost there's this orris root which makes it feel powdery. If you like the powderiness of chaps, right? Imagine Jacques Polge and Francois Demachy create a more upscale, version. There's carnation and orris with nutmeg, vanilla, frankincense in the base. Beautiful fragrance, actually. Very classy. Classic masculine from the late 80s. If you like things like Chanel's Pour Monsieur, try Tiffany for Men. But don't try the Coty version. Try to find the older version that says... That's what the oldest... I think this is the original. New York, New York. Yeah. Anyways... Great fragrance. I'll talk more about it soon. And then we've got Daniel Hector Character. Now, I talked about this before. Apparently, there's a new version of this that the Eau De Toilette is not down here. It's up here. And there's like a couple lines, almost like not exactly vertical, but slanted lines going up above the name. The name Daniel Hector is down here. That's how you can tell the modern. The old bottles don't have that. And also, of course, I think you can tell by the distributor. But this is Artemisia, Bergamot, Lemon, Basil, Carnation, Castoreum, Oak Moss, Leather, and Cedarwood. And what a fragrance this is. Remember I told you that many times they will use Carnation and Leather. And this is one of those times. And it is beautiful. Absolutely stunning. And the opening, even though it's 1989, this fragrance smells like it came out in the early 80s, like 80 or 81, when they used lots of animalics. I love this. I loved it so much I bought a backup. Okay. Okay, next we're going to go to the house of Paco Rabanne. And this is Tenere. Now, if you've been making little asterisks on... on Carnation, on extra floral Carnation fragrances to smell, put an asterisk next to Tenere. Now, there's a lot of other florals mixed in here. Jasmine, Lily of the Valley, but the Carnation in here is beautiful, and there's this honey note that is just so succulent. It's to die for. It's created by the same perfumer that did Boss No. 1. If you like the way that the honey is done in Boss No. 1, I would urge you to try Tenere. It is animalic, it is challenging, but this is what perfumer used to be in the 80s. I love this stuff. Spicy and floral. And I have a 200 ml backup. I love that stuff so much. Okay, now we're going to go all the way back in time to 1934. This is Dunhill for Men. The original Dunhill for Men from 1934. And this is woody and floral, lavender with petitgrain, carnation, iris, leather, tonka, vetiver, cedar. This one's a little tough for me. This is a modern bottle. I actually bought this at the request of, who was it? It must have been Thomas. I think Thomas from Early Greek talked about this. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this a shot. And I didn't like it. I didn't care for it as much. I'm very curious to know if a vintage is better. I'm sure it is. I have a feeling it is. The vintage bottles tend to be, and I would bet dollars to donuts that the vintage of this is way better than the modern. Maybe if I find a vintage bottle at a good price, I'll give it a blind buy and give it a shot. Okay, next we're going to go to one of my favorite honey fragrances of all time. It's from Raymond Chailan, who we talked about earlier in the video. He made Ho Hang by Balenciaga, the original Ho Hang. And this is, he also made that YSL Purome. This is Marbert Man. My God, what a fragrance this is. I can't believe it's discontinued. Aldehydes, honey, carnation, moss, leather, ambergris. Just a stunner of a fragrance. It's spicy, it's woody, there's a touch of cinnamon, but the honey here is so fresh. I mean, if I wanted to wear a fresh honey during the summer or something, this is what I would go for. You know, I'd save the Boss No. 1s and the Tenere for winter, and I'd wear this. This is so good. Ugh. I love Raymond Chailan as a perfumer. Okay, we're going to go to the year 1980. This is from the house of Balmain. This is Ivory De Balmain. This is a huge floral, gigantic floral sheaf. It's got every flower under the sun you can think of. Chamomile, violets, tagetes, carnation, lily of the valley, orris root, jasmine, narcissus, neroli, Turkish rose, ylang ylang. And then you add all the other stuff in here. Aldehydes. It is aldehydic. Definitely aldehydic floral. But there's some fruity touches. There's a little bit of raspberry. There's some patchouli and sandalwood, vetiver, frankincense, vanilla. It is a complex fragrance. I haven't given it the love and attention it deserves. But yes, if you're into stuff like this, this is I would love to find the masculine. The House of Balmain did a fragrance for men that I did an early impression on. And I would absolutely love to find a bottle of that stuff. It's called Ebony De Balmain. It came out 3 years after this. And it's just, you know, prices are just insane. I don't want to pay what the secondary market is asking. Okay, we're going to go to the house of Yohji Yamamoto, 1999. This is Yohji Homme. Now, if you're going to buy this, you have to make sure you get the version from 1999. Any other version is shite. I'm telling you that right now. The reformulations of this were terrible. So this is anise, lavender, carnation, geranium, rosewood, licorice, and in my early impression of Royal Tobacco by Amouage, there's a licorice note in there. I said it reminded me of this. And actually, this is the fragrance. I have a backup of this. This is the fragrance why I probably would not get Royal Tobacco. Even though this doesn't have the tobacco, it has coffee, leather, rum, tonka, sandalwood, and cedar. And when you mix that with the licorice, it gives you a very similar vibe. You know, minus the tobacco, okay? And I have other tobaccos I could wear, so I'd probably just wear this. I love this stuff. I think this is a huge underrated. This fragrance should be hyped to high heaven, but it's not. It's like kind of a hidden gem. I think I got this 100 ml bottle for like $70 on eBay. Like it was like one of those, you know, auctions where whatever the best price is when the time runs out, and almost no one bid against me. No one. It was just me. Okay, next we're going to go to the house of Valentino. And this is Very Valentino for men. Very Valentino for men has a couple iterations. It's discontinued now. So it was last marketed by Procter & Gamble. Before that, it was marketed by Unilever. And before that, it was marketed by the original, just Valentino. That's the one you want if you can find it. But this is still a very good version, this Unilever version. Harry Fremont is the perfumer. This is very similar to Dolce & Gabbana by man, to me. Anise, carnation, rosewood, lavender, tobacco, one of these fresh tobaccos. Even touches of Dolce & Gabbana Porum from the 90s, from 94. So this is 99. Closer to Dolce & Gabbana by man, but that fresh tobacco will remind you of Dolce & Gabbana Porum too. And the carnation in the heart is beautiful. Okay, next we're going to go to the house of Karl Lagerfeld. And this is an amazing fragrance. I love this stuff. I can't wait to wear it. Cannot wait to wear it once the weather turns. This is KL Homme. Wow. What a fragrance this is. I think Firmenich created this. There's rosewood with this orange. There's this orange vibe that runs through the center of it, almost like the color of the juice. You know, it really smells like the color of the juice. With carnation, geranium, again, the amazing combo. Sandalwood, cinnamon, amber, benzoin, musk, vanilla, and civet. If you've ever smelled Lagerfeld cologne from the late 70s, this is touches of that oriental, that orange oriental Lagerfeld cologne, minus the tobacco, with the addition of this animalic civet, very 80s style amber, okay? So if you like something like Obsession, CK Obsession, I have the women's version of this too, and it's stunning. The women's version, KL, Karl Lagerfeld KL, which came out in 82, and I think won Best Bottle of the Year, and it is a beautiful bottle. It's a beautiful fragrance too. Both are full bottle worthy, so I'll do videos on them hopefully soon. Okay, another discontinued fragrance, and you're gonna see a lot of this. So this is from the house of Krizia, and this is Moods Womo. One of my favorite patchouli fragrances, but there's many other masculine notes in here. It's peppery, it's got lavender, spicy carnation with leather, and a ton of oak moss and ambergris. And back then they probably were using real ambergris, who knows? But this is patchouli. I mean, patchouli personified in a masculine fragrance from the late 80s. Everything's big in this fragrance. The leather, the patchouli, the spices, everything is big. And I love it. I absolutely love Moods Womo. Okay, sticking with the house of Krizia, in 1991, they put out this. This is Crazy Krizia. Now, Crazy Krizia is a Dominique Ropion creation, and I'm going to go back to Obsession for women or men, whatever, whichever one you prefer. They're pretty much the same fragrance almost. This is Oriental Spicy. This is Dominique Ropion's take on that Oriental Spicy ambery DNA, and it is a stunner of a fragrance, and I can't believe I got 2 bottles of this for $80 combined. Not but for both, not for each, but combined. 100 mils, 1 Eau De Toilette, 1 Eau De Parfum. There's galbanum in the top, so it gives you this green touch that you'll smell in Must de Cartier for women. And then it dries into carnation, rose, labdanum, lots of resins, vanilla, tonka, and then there's that animalic 80s. It's like even though it's a 91 fragrance, it's like you're smelling an 80s fragrance. There is civet. All right, so it's a little bit animalic, but it's so damn good. So damn good. Crazy Krizia. What a fragrance. EDP or EDT, it doesn't matter. Okay, we're going to go to what I call the Green Hulk of the fragrance game. I wish I had a vintage bottle with the wood cap, but this is all I have, and I'm happy to have it, to be honest with you. It is Macassar, or Macassar, I don't know how to pronounce it, but Rochas, we'll say Macassar. EDT. 1980 this came out. Woody, spicy, tarragon, and pine in the top. The top can be a little bit challenging. And you've got a heart of carnation, geranium, jasmine, patchouli, vetiver, cedar, and a base of amber, oak moss, castoreum, leather, and musk. And castoreum and leather just go together beautifully. There's also this tobacco flower note in here, which is used again, I think, in Versace the Dreamer uses this tobacco flower note. And then, sticking with the house of Rochas, 1993, this little beauty came out, and it is now officially discontinued, which is unbelievable. Eau de Rochas Homme. This is the original bottle with the cap that matches the bottle. The new cap looks like this silver. But either one, it's an amazing fragrance. It's citrusy, fresh, probably one of the best citruses, summer citruses I own. Literally, it's stunning. Everything, even the bottle, it looks like you're putting your fingerprints on the back, and the waves are emanating out from you just touching the water. Beautiful bottle. Aldehydes with basil, lemon vervain. There's a freesia note in here. Of course, carnation. But it's just so fresh and invigorating. Citruses, But there's a floral heart, and it's beautifully done. If you've ever smelled Creed's Neroli Sauvage, they copied this fragrance, I think. This came out first, and then in '94, Creed put out Neroli Sauvage. They smell almost identical. Neroli Sauvage is 10 times the price. Insane. One moment, please. One hour in, and maybe another hour to go. Okay, next we're going to go to the house of Chanel. Excuse me. And this is Chanel's Egoïste. Now, Egoïste is financially one of the biggest flops ever. They spent a bunch of money. They wasted like $50 million trying to market this, and it pretty much flopped. But it's spicy, it's woody, it's got one of the most beautiful carnation accords, I would say. Mahogany wood with rosewood, cinnamon, sandalwood, tobacco, leather, amber, and vanilla. Oh, what a fragrance. Egoïste is a stunner. And I even like this current version. I have an old version that Anuj sent me with the silver sprayer. And even this newer version of Egoïste is amazing. When you don't want it to last and last and last, the new version is great. It lasts 6-7 hours, and then you got to reapply. But I think that's a good reformulation that Chanel did. They usually don't do bad reformulations. Okay, next we're going to go to the house of Antonio Puig, and this is Quorum. Now, if you remembered, Quorum wouldn't spray the last time. Well, I got it to work because I completely removed the atomizer and decanted it. Cumin, artemisia, lemon, carnation, cyclamen, jasmine, patchouli, with a base of leather, moss, tobacco, frankincense. So, look at the color scheme. Look at this. Look at the color scheme. How 80s is that? And I managed to save the bottle so I could still show you guys. The one that you want, if you're going to buy this scent, because it's still available, it's still being produced, amazingly, is the one that says Antonio Puig down here. Okay? So the newer bottles don't say Antonio Puig. They just say Puig. So if you can find one that says Antonio Puig, you're getting a older version. Okay, next we're going to go to the house of Escada. And this is the one that I said is very close to Safari. Look at the Safari bottle that came out a year earlier with the gem, with the wood on top. Escada put the stone on top. And very similar fragrance, but the Escada Purim has cognac in the top. One of my favorite cognac fragrances, along with Rouge's Creation E, or Enigma. And this is cognac, pimento, very classic. It's almost like you took Zino Davidoff or Heritage and added this boozy cognac with bay leaf. Beautiful. Beautiful fragrance. So masculine, so classy, woody. The carnations in the mid with geranium. Again, carnation, geranium. You see the combo that these perfumers are using. It's just a winning combo. Oh, God. And this is the Eau De Toilette. I have been looking for a bottle of the Eau De Parfum forever. They are a ghost. I would love a bottle of the Eau De Parfum. But I can't find it anywhere. Forget even paying big dollars. It's like it doesn't exist. Okay, next we're going to go to a recently discontinued fragrance. Sad that this is discontinued because Halston, both this and Z14 are discontinued according to Parfumo.net. This is Halston 112. So 112 came out in 76. This is galbanum, green notes. You know, it's almost like this barbershop floral green, like fougere, you know, take on a fougere. Spicy and green. But there is labdanum and oak moss and vanilla. It does have a respectable base. The carnation and pine in the heart. That's why I say it's very green and floral. I think the floral kind of threw men off in the 70s because it's jasmine, carnation. Okay, so next we're going to go to the house of Ungaro. And this is Ungaro pour l'Homme #1. There's 3 of these in total. #1 came out in 1991. There's the note tree. And even though they don't list carnation, there is a carnation note to go with the geranium. Discontinued, of course. My favorite of the Ungaro fragrances. Even this little, you know, bit that I have here is precious. I know the bottle looks like shit, but I don't care. I love this scent. Absolutely love these amber fougères, whatever you want to call it. Lavender, carnation, geranium, amber, oak moss, tonka. Stunner. I love this DNA. And, you know, if you like stuff like Escada Purim, Safari, Heritage, Zeno, check out Ungaro pour l'Homme 1. Okay, then they put out #2. Now, #2 came out in 1992, so a year later. They're all Francois Demarchi and Jacques Polge. They created all of the fragrances for Ungaro. So that's why Diva is a Jacques Polge creation. It's an Ungaro fragrance. And so they had like a contract with Ungaro. And this is like an updated version of this. Tiffany for Men. I mentioned this. Okay, they worked together to create this for Tiffany as well. So this is like an updated version. Ungaro pour l'Homme 2 is like an updated version of Tiffany for Men, but with more of the things I love, okay? So this is probably more classy. This is more like, you know, Chanel's Pour Monsieur, but a little bit beefier. This takes that Tiffany DNA and adds leather and civet. A very animalic civet in the dry down of this comes out. But it's beautiful. I love it. It keeps that fresh, traditional masculine that you smell in Chanel's Pour Monsieur, stuff like that. It keeps all that, and it adds the animalic civet to it. It's a beautiful creation. Sad it's discontinued. If you want to smell what a civet note smells like outside of the Coroses and stuff like that, get Ungaro pour l'Homme 2. Okay, next we're going to go to Salvador Dali. So this is Salvador by Salvador Dali from 1992, I believe. The bottle actually says 1991, interestingly enough. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see. Can you see it? It's right there. It's actually engraved on the bottle. But it does say copyright 1991. And spicy, leathery. If you like fragrances like Boss Spirit, try this. Because this is Boss Spirit with the green in the top toned down and the leather in the base toned down. Okay, so it's like a more classy Boss Spirit, which came out in 89. This came out in 92. This is a Gerard Anthony, one of the greatest perfumers of all time, in my opinion. And Sunshine in a bottle. Again, late 80s, early 90s is the sweet spot for the Ram. Okay, next we're going to go to the house of Moschino. This is Moschino Purim. Again, discontinued leather. So it's leather with Carnation and Orris. Total winning combo with lavender, bergamot, rosemary, clary sage in the top, and a base of castoreum, labdanum, styrax, tonka, amber, benzoin, oak moss, cedar. Great leather, but I just prefer Bel Ami is the thing. Bel Ami came out 4 years before this. This came out in 1990. Beautiful bottle, but for me, Euro Italia marketed this. For me, I just, you know, as much as I like this, I love Bel Ami. So every time I want to reach for this DNA, I just go for Bel Ami. I need to force myself to wear this more because it is good. It's just, it's not Bel Ami, if that makes sense. And that is a problem for me when I want this DNA. Okay, next is Lacoste Original from 1984. So the last marketing version of this was Procter & Gamble. Don't get that version. The version you want says Sofapar. Sofapar International, we'll call it. And I see bottles of these Sofapar Lacoste fragrances floating around for cheap still. You know, 30, 40 bucks. Now, they may not be 50, 100 mils. They may be 25 mils, but still, you can get them. This smells like a golf club. Lavender, citruses. It's very green and fresh. The carnation's in the heart with galbanum and oak moss in the base. Tons of oak moss in the base. This is a great example of what old school oak moss does from the 80s. And then from the late 80s, we've got Montana Parfum D'Homme. Okay, now this is the original version. You can see the bottom right there. But even the new stuff is good. I will tell you that. Even the new stuff is good. This is spicy and woody. It's discontinued, unfortunately. But it's got the Carnation Geranium combo with pine, rose, sage, lavender, and a base of leather, oak moss, labdanum, patchouli, sandalwood, vanilla, frankincense, and cedar. If you like things like Havana, which, by the way, I think I forgot to mention, but let's see if it's still there. We'll do a quick one-off here. Is Havana? I think Havana also has Carnation. I think I forgot to grab it. Well, you might as well do it right, you know? Yes, it does. Havana does have a Carnation note. So there you go. Let's add it. And this is a modern bottle. I know I always talk about vintages. This is a modern, and it's damn good. This is one I can vouch for the modern. Spicy, woody. It's very similar to Montana Parfum D'Homme, but it has this tobacco note, which is missing from the Montana. Montana is more about the leather. This adds the tobacco to the Carnation, and I think it adds maybe a touch of green basil, and that basil's missing from the Montana fragrance. Okay, next we're going to go to a fragrance that I expected more from. It's a spicy Chypre, Paloma Picasso, and it's from 1984, I believe. So this bottle's from 2007. I'm curious if I found an 80s bottle, how much I would love it, because this, for some reason, I need to wear it more, but for some reason it didn't wow me like I expected it to. But it's Angelica, Carnation. Carnation's in the top here. Very strange. With rose, the hearts, hyacinth, jasmine, mimosa, patchouli, and lang. It's very floral. With a base of oak moss, honey, wood, sandalwood, vetiver. So I'll have to wear that more. And then some of the best Orientals of all time. We've got Youth Dew from the I want to say from the 1950s, but I can't remember exactly when Youth Dew came out. Josephine Catapano put this out. And she also did Chaps, by the way. I know I mentioned Chaps a couple times. This is one of the best Orientals ever. Ever, ever, ever. Even smelling it from the cap. Wow. Carnation Clove combo comes again in the next fragrance I'm going to show you, but lots of resins, benzoin, tolu balsam, peru balsam, vanilla, patchouli. Wow, one of the best Orientals ever. If you've never smelled Youth Dew, I would urge you to try to get a sniff. Youth Dew inspired this Opium EDT. The EDT. I also probably could have grabbed the Secret de Parfum, but I didn't know if that one had Carnation or not. I know the EDT does. The EDT is probably one of the best representations. These two are beautiful representations of Carnation because they both use clove to enhance the Carnation accord. And it really gives you a good idea. You know, you get lots of that eugenol note I was talking about in the opening. But I mean, what a creation Opium is. It made my top 10. It's one of my favorite Orientals of all time. Just myrrh and apopanax and castoreum. Oh, God. And it is, I mean, Opium, what a name. It's a perfect name for the fragrance. With that plum note. I need to wear that. Okay, next is a new one. I haven't even had a chance to spray this. So just like MCM Success, haven't had a chance to spray this one yet. But I know that it's supposed to be a big Carnation. It's Givenchy 3 from 1970. Eau De Toilette. A floral sheaf, aldehydes, galbanum, rose, lily of the valley, iris, narcissus, with a base of patchouli, ambergris, castoreum, myrrh, oak moss, and vetiver. Cannot wait to give this a full wear. This is a vintage bottle. So yes, they list lily of the valley, jasmine, oak moss on the little tester part on the back. Yeah, good stuff. And then 200 ml, big boy. This is Borsalino for men from 1984. This is Goodfellas in a bottle to me. Look at the hat, the little hat the bottle's wearing. Yeah, it's spicy, it's woody, it's lavender. It's a fougere. It's lavender with Carnation and leather and oak moss in the base. Very Italian, very Goodfellas, like I said. Okay, get your marker out if you're marking the ones with the big Carnation. This is one. This is Givenchy Three from 1976. Not Givenchy Three 1 from 2003. Givenchy Three created by Guy Robert. Lavender with Carnation and patchouli, pepper, iris, spices, labdanum, oak moss, vanilla, leather. Just a stunning fragrance. If you like things, again, like Ho Hang from 1971, Ysl Purome, Abbey Rouge, you know, those kind of fragrances, I would urge you to try Givenchy Three. This is a bottle distributed by Scannon, but, you know, I think any version of this you can find will be good. I don't think this has been around for, I don't think this was around for, you know, so long where it was reformulated and ruined. I think they just discontinued it. So, next, another Givenchy. We've got Givenchy Nobile. Givenchy Nobile. One of the best fougères with tobacco. There's a tobacco note in here that's just stunning. And the Carnation note is in the mid here. So you get Carnation, geranium, jasmine, rose. Amazing fougère. Don't pay $800 a bottle, though. It's not worth it. But if you find a couple drops like I did for a good price, go for it. And then we've got the final Givenchy on the list. And this is Givenchy Envy for men. One of my favorites from the 90s. My bottle, my cap has seen better days, but I don't care. It's all about the juice. Oh my God. This is Scannon. Again, Scannon is the marketer, I think, of all my fragrances. Let's see. Is this a Scannon? I don't think this one says. Yeah, the Gucci Nobile doesn't say. But, yeah, this is Scannon. Gucci Envy is amazing because it has this ginger. The ginger note here is stunning with rosewood, carnation, leather, patchouli. Absolutely love it. Okay, next we're going to go to the house of Robert Piguet. And again, remember I was telling you about the leather. The leather carnation combo is a winner. And here it is again. Bandit. Bandit. This is the vintage Eau De Toilette. You can tell by the weird white writing on the bottom. They used to do that in the old days. Oh God, tarragon, galbanum. Oh, it's so green and butch. I absolutely love this stuff. Loads of castoreum, oak moss, myrrh, civet, carnation in the heart. Just a stunner. Let me smell the actual carnation test strip again. Oh, so green. So green and spicy. Okay, next we're going to go to a few more decants I pulled aside later on. And so the first one we're going to talk about is going to be a Roja. Haven't talked about any Rojas yet. He doesn't use carnation very often, even though he loves the vintage fragrances. This is a 2018 release, still available for purchase. I think you might have to buy this at the hotel. I'm not sure if he sells it on his website. It's L'Oscar Purim. So L'Oscar is like a high-end hotel in England. And I did a full review of this, or at least an early impression, because D.L. Qualia gave me a couple precious drops of this expensive fragrance. And this is grapefruit with cistus labdanum, mayflower, which is kind of the note du jour here that makes this stand apart, and carnation. And you get this freshness from like celery seeds and galbanum, and you know, there's a lot going on. It's a very classy, easy to like Roja, you know, but the carnation in the mid is very prominent, and it's like carnation with cistus labdanum, spicy carnation with that cistus labdanum, which Roja loves usually, which I don't blame him. I love cistus labdanum too. So L'Oscar Purim is one. The next one, which God, this is probably, if you said, Ramsey, here's a grand, go buy any fragrance you want right now. Just go. Just here's $1,000. Go buy it. I'd probably go buy a bottle of this if I can find it. It is Guerlain's Metallica, or rebranded as Metalys because the band sued them, so they couldn't use Metallica anymore. But Metalys, and Metalys came out in 2000. It's a floral powdery fragrance. Oh, God. One of the best vanillas ever. The only vanilla that can compete with Shalimar, actually, in my mind, is Metalys. But the carnation in the heart is stunning. The orange blossom and rose and ylang are also stunning, but the carnation in the heart here is stunning. God, I need a bottle of this stuff. Frederic Malle did Une Fleur de Cassis in the year 2000 as well. Same year. I prefer Metalys, but this is still good. Still very good. Bergamot, cassia, carnation, jasmine, cumin, mimosa. Carnation's in the top here, which is very strange. Aldehydes in the mid. Aldehydes in the mid. It's a very strange fragrance. Apricot, rose. I like it, but I don't like it enough that I want a full bottle. And then the final little decant we're going to do here is Guerlain's Derby, but specifically the Derby from 2005. That's the one that Thierry Vasseur used the Carnation Accord to help make up for what they couldn't use anymore. So this is Indian Woods, Carnation, Patchouli, Leather, Forest Soil, and Spices. And yeah, the Carnation is very prominent in the redone version of Derby. The one in the bottle with the wood frame, if you will. Okay, so next we're going to go to the house of Leonard again, and this is Tamango. Now, Tamango is a floral green fragrance. Very feminine floral, actually. Hard for me to wear. I can really appreciate it. And I've got the vintage bottle with the short ingredient list. And I've got a couple backups, too. Because I got such a deal, I just bought what the guy had. But this is spices with carnation, iris, jasmine, lily of the valley, rose, oak moss, amber, tonka. It's a little too floral for me to make it as my scent of the day very often, but I do enjoy it. And then we are going to go to the house of Lancôme. And this is called Balafré. So this is a vintage. If you watched my unboxing, go to my review that I did on Guerlain's Oud Cole. And I did an unboxing that day, I think. And these two were on there. And there's the bottle. So Balafré is woody and spicy. Cypress, lavender, carnation, geranium, pine, clary sage, oak moss, leather, musk, and vetiver. And so if you're interested in watching the unboxing video, I still haven't even decanted it to try to wear it yet, but I will very soon. The guy that I bought these from in Italy is awesome. He's pretty darn cool, Antonio. Okay, and then next is Bel Ami, my favorite fragrance of all time. This is the 200 ml that I was lucky enough to score from him. Man, what a find this is. Oh, God, just looking at the bottle makes me happy even. I mean, even though it's starting to rub off a little bit, I don't care. I can tell just from opening this up like this. Oh, fuck. That's why this is my #1 fragrance right here. And to back up, the shaker bottle is... I love this stuff. Last time I did this, I'm going to do it again. Because I love this. I can't believe I found 200 mils at this price. He gave me a great deal. If you're interested in me passing along that gentleman's information to you, just send me an email. And I'll be glad to. He's got some outrageous stuff still. So, go watch the unboxing if you're interested. And there's actually going to be an unboxing on this video at the very end. We're going to do an unboxing. The final fragrance, I'm going to do an unboxing because I haven't even opened it yet. But it's not from him, it's from someone else. Okay, next we're going to go to the house of Van Cleef & Arpels. This is Porum from 1978. One of my favorite rose fragrances of all time. But with the rose comes the carnation and patchouli and clove, and there's this, I think it's a Chypre. It's a spicy, leathery Chypre with labdanum, leather, frankincense, but the rose carnation combo is with clove. You know, anytime you add clove and carnation, it definitely amps up the spiciness. But this is so good. One of the best rose fragrances ever for me, and I have a backup bottle. And then, the same house in 1989 put out SAR, which is considered to be like one of the best one of the best fougere fragrances of all time. Philippe Boisseton created this. Lavender. This is a fougere through and through. Lavender, geranium with tonka. Of course, the fougere DNA with carnation in the heart, oak moss, classic fougere. If you like stuff like these two, are two of the most sought-after masculine fougeres. And I can completely see why. So classic. Next, we're going to go to 1968, and the house of Puig put out Aqua Brava. Now, Aqua Brava is a beautiful lavender with sandalwood. Winning combo. Spicy, woody, pine, carnation in the mid. Another fragrance that I need to wear and talk about soon. And another fragrance that I think you can still just buy. I don't think the current stuff is as good as the older bottles, but I think you can still just go buy this fragrance, which is a testament. It's from 1968. They're still keeping it current. Okay, one of my favorite fougères that no one talks about, and I love this stuff. As far as fougère goes, to me, this fragrance competes with the ones I just showed you, the SARS and the Gucci Nobile. God, this is Bon Monsieur by Rouge. My God, what a fougère this is. Green, lavender absolute of the highest quality with oak moss, geranium, carnation. That carnation, I think, is what really gives it that old school accord. You know, if you can't find a bottle of SAR, or you don't want to pay the money SAR's paying, just go buy this. I mean, I don't want to say it's just as good, but it kind of is. I mean, I love this stuff. One of my favorite modern fougères. 2020, this came out. Okay, next. Next, we're going to go to the House of Trusardi. And this is Trusardi Womo. Okay, Trusardi Womo. Spicy, leathery. Oh, one of my favorite Italian leathers of all time. The only one I like more is coming up next. This is lavender, thyme, carnation, honey, iris, labdanum, leather. And it was created by Beatrice Piquet, who also did L'Instant de Guerlain, which, you know, between L'Instant de Guerlain and this, she has a special place in my heart. I mean, this is... Rest in peace, Beatrice Piquet. It's too bad you're not with us to see this. Okay, and then my favorite Italian leather. Here you go. Fendi Uomo. So the carnations in the heart on both of these. They both have this spice, Italian, you know, marjoram, spice cabinet, your grandmother's spice cabinet vibe. I love Fendi Uomo. Carnation in the heart, leather, what feels like maybe a little bit more castoreum in the base. Just so classic. What a fragrance. I can't wait to wear these again. I usually will wear these in the winter. Okay, next is Givenchy, and this is a vintage bottle of Xerius. Xerius is also a classic fougère. It's got that lavender, geranium, tonka base with amber. It's almost like an amber. It's one of those modernized amber fougères with lots of spices. There's a lot of spices in here, florals, a lot of notes in general. Carnation's one of them. But if you like classic masculines, give Xerius a sniff. Okay, next we're going to go to the House of Dior. And this is the original Eau Sauvage. Now, Eau Sauvage, EDT, not the Eau Sauvage Parfum, which I actually prefer. Oh, I just got some on my lip. Ugh. Okay, Eau Sauvage. 1966. Basil, rosemary, cumin with carnation in the heart. And I wish I could smell like a really old bottle of this. You know, I wish I knew if that cumin was really amped up, because many of Edmund Rudnitska's fragrances are. And this is just so citrusy and fresh. And I don't know, it doesn't do it for me. It's probably my least favorite Edmund Rudnitska creation. Okay, next we're going to go to the House of Leonard. Again, one of my favorite leathers. We're starting to get, we're knocking out all my favorite leathers here almost, because that combination of leather, castoreum, and carnation is so beautiful. It's Leonard Purome. Leonard Purome is spicy and woody. It was created by Ron Winograd, one of my favorite perfumers. This is lavender with carnation in the heart. There's a carrot note, a true carrot note in the heart of this. It smells like a well-traveled man. It's beautiful. Castoreum, labdanum, leather, moss, frankincense. Stunning. Stunning stuff, Leonard Purome. One of my favorite leathers. One of my favorite fragrances. Okay, next we're going to go to the house of Lagerfeld again. And this is Photo. Photo came out in 1990. It's discontinued. Woody, fresh. There's this aldehydic, one of the most beautiful aldehydes I've ever seen. Aldehydes with galbanum and honey and amber in the base with carnation in the heart. It's just beautiful. Photo. And I've got a older version of this. This is Unilever Cosmetics. I also have a earlier version of this, and I'm going to do a comparison video one day. Okay, next, the House of Dior. This is a 90s bottle of Fahrenheit. Now, Fahrenheit, again, we're knocking out all the major ones. It has an amazing leather note. Leather, violet leaf, carnation in the heart. And this is one where you don't get the carnation geranium combo. It's just carnation. Carnation with jasmine and lily of the valley with the violet leaf. We've been at this so long, I don't think I can talk anymore. Like my, after getting Eau Sauvage on my lip, I don't think I can talk. Okay, next we're going to go to the house of Romeo Gigli. And this is Romeo Gigli per Uomo. Now, Romeo Gigli per Uomo is Alberto Morillas. One of the most amazing cinnamons, plum. I love this fragrance. I think it is heavily underrated. It came out in the early 90s. It has that cinnamon honey vibe that you get in Balenciaga Porum. It doesn't smell anything like Balenciaga Porum. Just the cinnamon note, if you dissect it, feels that way. That early 90s cinnamon. You get it in Witness too, which is from the early 90s as well. And with the base of benzoin and resin, styrac, stuff like that. But the carnation is in the heart. And then we've got Francesco Smalto Porum, one of my most favorite Italian fougere fragrances. Smoky, oak moss, anise, carnation in the heart, geranium, of course, it's a fougere, with leather. Again, you could even put this into one of my favorite Italian leathers, although I think I prefer Fendi, Uomo, and Trusardi Womo, but Francesco Smalto is amazing. Okay, now we're going to go to the house of Aramis. And this is Aramis 900. So this is a vintage bottle. Rumor is the new stuff is still good. I don't have any juice to do a comparison, but if you like things like Aromatics Elixir, try Aramis 900. Bernard Chant, the legendary Hall of Fame perfumer, created this. Rosewood with carnation, geranium, orris, jasmine, lily of the valley, and rose. One of the best roses. So now we've just mentioned two of the greatest rose fragrances. They both have carnation. And I love this stuff. The base with the patchouli and the civet is something to behold. And I think it's amazing. Very classic masculine. 1973. And then in 1977, we've got Devon. So Devon... Devon has this aldehydic galbanum. If you've ever smelled alliage, you'll kind of have an idea with Devon. It's carnation in the heart, jasmine, stone pine needles, caraway, cinnamon, amber, oak moss. And if you can find these older bottles with, these are probably 20 years old. I don't know how old these are, but if you can find the bottle that looks like mine, that's what you want. You want this one. Don't get the vintage, or don't get the current version of Devon. It's lost a step. But these bottles are stunning. The juice inside is just I love this stuff. If you like the green, if you like green in fragrances, you have to sniff Devon. And then, speaking of all-time great leather scents, we've got Jul Dior Jul. Oh my God, this stuff. Fuck. Oh. Oh. Man, I wore this just the other day, like a week and a half ago. I loved every second of it. Tarragon, cumin, basil, carnation in the heart, with that leather suede combo in the base, with just old school oak moss. And God, what have we done to modern perfumery that we've lost this? I mean, just amazing. Okay, now we've got a vintage Sanofi bottle of Oscar de la Renta Pour Louis. Another one of my all-time favorites. Another leather fragrance in the base. Anise, galbanum, aldehydes, lavender, sage, cyclamen, carnation, geranium. If you like stuff like Santos de Cartier, I would urge you to try Oscar de la Renta Pour Louis. That would be my advice. Okay, next we're going to go to a Hugo Boss fragrance. I think it's the first time Hugo Boss has made an appearance. This is Boss Sport. So Boss Sport, look at that, with the tennis racket, the, what is that, golf club, tennis racket, and golf clubs. I love it. So 80s with the pinstripes. I love this stuff. Fresh and spicy, Taguette, mugwort, tarragon, carnation, geranium, patchouli, moss, amber, sandalwood. 1987. One of my favorite sport fragrances. In fact, I said that this was my favorite sport fragrance up until I discovered the great and amazing Antea Sport. Antea Sport just wiped the floor with all other sport fragrances, but this was my favorite sport fragrance up until Antea Sport just came along and just completely pushed all the pieces off the board. Okay, next we're gonna go to, what are we going to next? We're going to this Crizia Uomo. Crizia Uomo from 1983. This is green, spicy green, basil, artemisia, juniper, pine, with carnation and geranium, leather, oak moss, patchouli, vetiver. If you like One Man Show, I think this is better than the current version of One Man Show. The vintage version of One Man Show, that's a tougher one. The vintage version of One Man Show might be better. If you can find the ones that look like that say cologne and 85% volume, these older versions, that's what you want. One Man Show, oh, these old versions are... The new stuff is a joke. They should have discontinued One Man Show. And then we're going to Guerlain. This is Le Bleu. This is the Eau De Toilette. Although you could probably look at any version of Le Bleu. The Eau De Toilette, carnation, anise, neroli, heliotrope, iris, violet, vanilla, benzoin, tonka. One of the best powdery floral fragrances of all time. I love this stuff. I love the Eau De Parfum and the Eau De Toilette. And then I'm going to say, if you want me to put an asterisk next to my favorite carnation fragrance of all time, here it is. Abbey Rouge. Abbey Rouge is my carnation fragrance. This just highlights carnation in the best light ever. Carnation, patchouli, leather, benzoin, vanilla, green lemon, bitter orange. Just, I mean, the leather in the base that comes out in this. Citrusy, but you have to get the Eau De Toilette. Don't get the Eau De Parfum. It's completely different. Man, it's going to take me a year to put all this away. I hope you guys appreciate this. This is going to be, next is Samsara Eau De Parfum. Now, Samsara, 1989, Oriental Floral, focus on ylang, sandalwood, and of course that Guerlain Amber Tonka Vanilla Iris thing they do so well with Carnation in the heart. There's a peach note as well on the top. I really have to be in the mood to wear this, but the current version of Samsara is a joke. Do not get the current. Either get this or the one before this in the white, all white bottle. Okay, next we're going to go to another Guerlain. And again, if you've got your pen and you are marking off the Guerlain or the Carnations, putting asterisks next to the heavy Carnations, put an asterisk next to this. This is Guerlain's Louis. Now, Louis has turned into a fragrance called Œillet Pourpre, but this is basically Carnation with benzoin, vanilla, and leather. Oh, this is this is probably, to most people, this would probably be one of the best Carnation fragrances of all time. Abbey Rouge to me is just so ingrained in me that it's a Carnation, you know. But if you just smelled this, and then you smell this, this is probably the best Carnation. I mean, it's so, but you have to like vanilla and benzoin because it does go there ultimately. But it's Carnation. I mean, through and through, Carnation. And then we have a Papillon. Liz Moore's, one of my favorite perfumers in the game right now. 2015, this is Salome. Salome is, God, Salome. Salome is jasmine, Hyrax, beautiful Hyrax, best Hyrax I've ever smelled, actually. Turkish rose, Carnation, oak moss, styrax, bitter orange, patchouli, bergamot, and orange blossom. So animalic and spicy. If you've ever smelled Jean Deprez Bella Versailles, okay? If you've ever smelled Bella Versailles, or maybe even touches of this, if you've ever smelled Musk Tonkin by the House of Parfum d'Empire, this also uses Hyrax. Think Bella Versailles and Musk Tonkin have a baby. Oh, I love her creations, man. This is just sex on the skin, as she says. It really is. She called it a post-coital fragrance, which kind of, even the British can be so proper about everything. But it is very proper. It's a post-coital fragrance, all right. Okay, 2016, Christopher Sheldrake. This is Baptême de Feu. Carnation, castoreum, ginger, candied mandarin peel, metallic notes, and cinnamon. This is insane. It almost has this liqueur vibe to it, like a Christmas wine or something too. Spicy and fruity, nuts. This fragrance is nuts. Christopher Sheldrake goes insane is basically what this is, and it's still damn good. Okay, next we've got the great Furyo, Jacques Bogart, Carnation, Ambrette, Lavender, Carnation, Ambrette, Lavender, Geranium, Oak Moss, Civet, and Civet, and Civet is basically the notes in this, with more Civet. It is just one of my favorite Civets. Oh, why are you discontinued? Okay, next we've got Caron's Yatagan. Yes, even Yatagan has a Carnation note. Lavender, galbanum, Carnation, geranium, pine, vetiver, castoreum, styrax, oak moss, leather. Smells like a forest floor, dirty and a forest floor that hasn't been disturbed for a while until you come along. Okay, next we've got Boucheron Porum. Boucheron Porum, the EDP. This is classic masculine, you know, think, again, Tiffany for men, that kind of thing. It's got a little bit of that going. Carnation and orris in the heart with a little bit of resins, but lots of citruses. My favorite Boucheron is this, Ysl Purome, which also has a carnation note with tons of vanilla, cinnamon, clove, and heliotrope. So again, you have carnation and clove. And it does smell spicy, oriental. It's an Unique Monardo. I mean, what a value for money this is. This is the Eau De Toilette. I picked the Eau De Toilette because I think the carnation comes out more. The Eau De Parfum, you get more benzoin and vanilla and tonka and resins. And then finally, well, not finally, sorry. I think there's, yeah, we have to do the unboxing. This is Versace versus Womo, which this is one of my favorite spicy, citrusy scents, okay? So if I wanted to wear something that was citrusy, all right, instead of something like Tiffany for Men or Chanel's Pour Monsieur, I'd pick this because I love it is a little powdery. It's got orris, but I love the way that the citruses mixed with the carnation, the spicy carnation, mixed with this rosewood, one of the best rosewood notes in perfumery. And then it has this base that will remind you of some of the amber fougères I've talked about how much I love. Jazz, you know, Safari. Even though we didn't mention Heritage, you could bring up Heritage. You could bring up Ungaro Porum 1. You could bring up Escada Porum. You know, it has this this early 90s base. This is 1991. What a fragrance this is. I can't believe that no one talks about this. No one talks about this. And they should, because this is amazing stuff. Versace versus Womo. God. Okay. Let's do the unboxing. And this also has a carnation note. And I went to go pull it out and went, damn it, I didn't even open this. I bought it just a week ago. It's Jean Patou Sublime. Let's open it. Let's open it, shall we? Let's open this bad boy up. Now, this is not a vintage, okay? This is just whoever marketed it last, I think. But I got a really good deal. I got a really good deal on it. So yeah, Designer Perfumes Limited is basically who there you go. There you have it. Sublime by the house of Jean Patou. Okay. Let's give it a spray, shall we? Let's see what we're dealing with here. Wow, that's pretty good. It's actually really good. It's a Jean Carleo. Why am I not surprised? I mean, that it's good. I shouldn't be surprised at all. It's actually really, really good. Floral Chiffre. I would love to smell the vintage, but they kept this in good order. Made in France. Jasmine, Orris, Carnation, Ylang, Rose, Lily of Valley, Lily, Bergamot, Mandarin Orange, Civet, Styrax, Amber, Oak Moss, Musk, Sandalwood, Vanilla, Vetiver. Very good. Okay, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. All right, good stuff. Well, I hope you guys appreciated this 2-hour extravaganza. Sorry it took so long, but I was damn thorough. Now, can you come help me put all this stuff away, please? Anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. I really do appreciate it. All the people who support me, the thumbs up, liking the videos, subscribing, commenting. I know you guys don't have to do that. It is very much appreciated. So cheers, everybody. I won't keep you any longer. We'll keep it under 2 hours. Do let me know your thoughts, what some of your favorite Carnation fragrances are. If there's any I don't have that are some of your favorites, do let me know. And cheers, guys. I look forward to talking to you again tomorrow. Bye now.